Qorin'tiyim2, 2Corinthians chapters 1 through 6. Shaul, an emissary of Yahusha HaMashiach by the desire of Elohim, and Timotheos the brother, to the assembly of Elohim that is at Qorinthos, with all the Kodashim who are in all Achaia. Favor to you and peace from Yahuah our Father and the Adon Yahshua HaMashiach. Baruch be the Elohim and Father of our Adon Yahshua HaMashiach, the Father of compassion and Elohim of all comfort, who is comforting us in all our pressure, enabling us to comfort those who are in every pressure through the comfort with which we ourselves are comforted by Elohim. Because as the sufferings of Mashiach overflow in us, so our comfort also overflows through Mashiach. And if we suffer pressure, it is for your comfort and deliverance, being worked out in enduring these same sufferings which we also suffer. If we are comforted, it is for your comfort and deliverance. And our expectation for you is steadfast, because we know that as you are sharing in these sufferings, so also in the comfort. For we do not want you to be ignorant, brothers, of our pressure which came to us in Asia, that we were weighed down exceedingly beyond ability, so that we despaired even of life. Indeed, we had the sentence of death in ourselves, that we should not trust in ourselves, but in Elohim who raises the dead, who rescued us from so great a death, and does rescue, in whom we trust that he shall still rescue us. You also helping together in prayer for us, that thanks shall be given by many on our behalf for the favor bestowed upon us through many. For our boasting is this, the witness of our conscience, that we behaved ourselves in the world in simplicity and sincerity of Elohim, not in fleshly wisdom, but in the favor of Elohim, and much more toward you. For we are writing none other to you than what you read or understand. Now I trust you shall understand even to the end, as also you have understood us in part, that we are your boast, as you also are ours, in the day of the Adon Yahshua. And relying on this, I intended to come to you before, that you might twice receive a favor, and to pass your way into Macedonia, and again from Macedonia come to you, and to be sent by you on my way to Yahudah. Since I intended this, did I do it lightly? Or what I plan, do I plan according to the flesh, that with me there should be yes, yes, and no, no? But Elohim is trustworthy, that our word to you was not yes and no, for the bane of Yahuah, Yahusha HaMashiach, who was proclaimed among you by us, by me, Sila, and Timotheos, was not yes and no, but in him was yes. For as many promises are of Elohim, in him they are yes, and in him amen, to the esteem of Elohim through us. But he who establishes us with you in Mashiach, and has anointed us, is Elohim, who also sealed us, and gave the Ruah in our hearts as a pledge. And I call Elohim as witness against my being, that to spare you I came no more to Qorinthos. Not that we rule over your belief, but we are fellow workers for your joy, for you stand by belief. And I decided this within myself, not to come to you again in sadness. For if I make you sad, then who is he who makes me glad, but the one who is made sad by me? And I wrote to you as I did, so that having come, I might not have sadness over those from whom I should have joy, trusting in you all that my joy is that of you all. For out of much pressure and distress of heart I wrote to you with many tears, not that you should be sad, but that you might know the love which I so richly have for you. But if anyone has caused sadness, he has not made me sad, but in some degree you all, not to be too harsh. For such a one this punishment by the many is sufficient, so that on the contrary you should rather forgive and comfort, lest somehow such a one be swallowed up with too much sadness. So I appeal to you to confirm your love to him. Besides, I wrote for this purpose also, that I might know the proof of you, if you are obedient in all. And whom you forgive anything, I do also, For indeed, if I have forgiven anything, I have forgiven that one for your sakes in the sight of Mashiach, lest Satan should take advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his thoughts. And when I came to Troas for the good news of Mashiach, and a door was opened to me by the Adon, I had no rest in my spirit, because I did not find Titus my brother, but taking my leave of them, I went on to Macedonia. But thanks be to Elohim, who always leads us on to overcome in Mashiach, and manifests through us the fragrance of his knowledge in every place. Because we are to Yahuah the fragrance of Mashiach among those who are being saved and among those who are perishing. To the one we are the smell of death to death, and to the other the fragrance of high to high. And who is competent for these? For we are not, as so many, merchandising the word of Yahuah, but as of sincerity, but as from Elohim, in the sight of Elohim, we speak in Mashiach. Are we to begin to commend ourselves again? Or do we need, as some, letters of recommendation to you or from you? You are our letter, having been written in our hearts, known and read by all men, making it obvious that you are a letter of Mashiach, served by us, written not with ink, but by the Ruah of the living Elohim, not on tablets of stone, but on fleshly tablets of the heart. And such trust we have toward Yahuah through HaMashiach, not that we are competent in ourselves to reckon anything as from ourselves, but our competence is from Elohim, who also made us competent as servants of a renewed covenant, not of the letter, but of the Ruah. For the letter kills, but the Ruah gives high. But if the administering of death in letters, engraved on stones, was esteemed so that the children of Yisrael were unable to look steadily at the face of Moshe because of the esteem of his face which was passing away, how much more esteemed shall the administering of the Ruach not be? For if the administering of condemnation had esteem, the administering of righteousness exceeds much more in esteem. For indeed what was made esteemed had no esteem in this respect, in view of the esteem that excels. For if that which is passing away was esteemed, much more that which remains in esteem. Having then such expectation, we use much boldness of speech, and not like Moshe, who put a veil over his face so that the children of Israel should not look steadily at the end of what was passing away, but their minds were hardened. For to this day, when the old covenant is being read, that same veil remains not lifted, because in Mashiach it is taken away. But to this day, when Moshe is being read, a veil lies on their heart. And when one turns to the Adon, the veil is taken away. Now Yahuah is the Ruach, and where the Ruach of Yahuah is, there is freedom. And we all, as with unveiled face, we see as in a mirror the esteem of Yahuah, are being transformed into the same likeness from esteem to esteem as from Yahuah the Ruach. Therefore, having this service, even as we received compassion, we do not lose heart, but have renounced the secrets of shame, not walking in craftiness, nor falsifying the word of Yahuah, but by the manifestation of the truth, recommending ourselves to every human conscience in the sight of Elohim. And indeed, if our good news has been veiled, it has been veiled in those who are perishing, in whom the mighty one of this age has blinded the minds of the unbelieving, so that the enlightening of the good news of the esteem of Mashiach, who is the likeness of Elohim, does not shine on them. For we do not proclaim ourselves, but Mashiach Yahshua the Adon, and ourselves your servants for the sake of Yahusha. For Elohim, who said, "Let light shine out of the darkness," is the one who has shone in our hearts for the enlightening of the knowledge of the esteem of Elohim in the face of Yahushua HaMashiach. And we have this treasure in earthen vessels, so that the excellence of the power might be of Elohim and not of us, being hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, being perplexed, but not in despair, being persecuted, but not forsaken, being thrown down, but not destroyed, always bearing about in the body the dying of the Adon Yahushua, that the Chai of Yahushua might also be manifested in our body. For we, the living, are always delivered to death for the sake of Yahushua, that the Chai of Yahushua might also be manifested in our mortal flesh, so that death indeed is working in us, but the Chai in you. But having the same spirit of belief, according to what has been written, I believed, therefore I spoke. We also believe, therefore we also speak, knowing that he who raised up the Adon Yahushua shall also raise us up through Yahushua and shall stand with you. For all this is for your sake, so that favor, having spread through the many, would cause thanksgiving to overflow unto the esteem of Elohim. Therefore, we do not lose heart, but even if our outward man is perishing, yet that within is being renewed day by day. For this slight momentary pressure is working for us a far more exceeding and everlasting weight of esteem. We are not looking on what is seen, but on what is not seen. For what is seen passes away, but what is not seen is everlasting. For we know that if the tent of our earthly house is destroyed, we have a building from Elohim, a house not made with hands, everlasting in the Shamayim. For indeed in this we groan, longing to put on our dwelling which is from Shamayim, so that having put it on we shall not be found naked. For indeed we who are in this tent groan, being burdened, not because we want to put it off, but to put on, so that what is to die might be swallowed up by Chai. Now he who has prepared us for this same purpose is Elohim, who has given us the Ruah as a pledge of what is to come. Therefore, being always of good courage, and knowing that while we are at home in the body, we are absent from the Adon, for we walk by belief, not by sight. We are of good courage, and are well pleased, rather to be absent from the body and to be present with the Adon. So we also make it our aim to be well pleasing to him, whether being at home or being away from home. For we all have to appear before the judgment seat of Mashiach, in order for each one to receive according to what he has done in the body, whether good or evil. Knowing, therefore, the reverence of Yahuah, we persuade men, but we have been made manifest to Elohim, and I also trust in your consciences to have been manifested. For we do not again commend ourselves to you, but give you an occasion to boast on our behalf, in order that you oppose those who take pride in appearance and not in heart. For whether we are beside ourselves, it was for Elohim, or whether we are of sound mind, it is for you. For the love of Mashiach compels us, having judged this, that if one died for all, then all died. And he died for all, that those who live should no longer live for themselves, but for him who died for them and was raised. So from now onwards, we know no one according to the flesh, and if we have known Mashiach according to the flesh, yet now we no longer know. Therefore, if anyone is in Mashiach, he is a renewed creature. The old have passed away. See, all have become renewed. And all is from Yahuah, who has restored us to favor with himself through Yahusha HaMashiach, and has given us the service of restoration to favor. That is, that Elohim was in Mashiach, restoring the world to favor unto himself, not reckoning their trespasses to them, and has committed to us the word of restoration to favor. Therefore we are envoys on behalf of Mashiach, as though Elohim were pleading through us. We beg on behalf of Mashiach, be restored to favor with Elohim. For he made him who knew no sin to be sin for us, so that in him we might become the righteousness of Elohim. And working together, we also call upon you not to receive the favor of Elohim in vain, for he says, in an acceptable time I have heard you, and in a day of deliverance I have helped you. See, now is the well-accepted time. See, now is a day of deliverance, giving no cause of stumbling in whatever, so that the service is not blamed. Rather, we commend ourselves as servants of Elohim in every way, in much endurance, in pressures, in hardships, in distresses, in stripes, in imprisonments, in disturbances, in toils, in watchings, in fastings, in cleanness, in knowledge, in patience, in kindness, in the Ruach HaKodesh, in love unfeigned, in the word of truth, in the power of Elohim, through the weapons of righteousness, on the right and on the left, through esteem and disrespect, through evil report and good report, as deceivers and yet true, as unknown and yet well known, as dying and see we live, as disciplined and yet not killed, as sad yet always rejoicing, as poor yet enriching many, as having naught and yet possessing all. Our mouth has spoken openly to you, O Corinthians. Our heart is wide open. You are not restrained by us, but you are restrained by your own affections. But for the same reward, I speak as to children. Open wide yourselves too. Do not become unevenly yoked with unbelievers. For what partnership have righteousness and lawlessness? And what fellowship has light with darkness? And what agreement has Mashiach with Belial? Or what part does a believer have with an unbeliever? And what union has the Mishkan of Elohim with idols? For you are a Mishkan of the living Elohim, as Yahuah has said, I shall dwell in them and walk among them, and I shall be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. Therefore, come out from among them and be separate, says Yahuah, and do not touch what is unclean, and I shall receive you, and I shall be a father to you, and you shall be sons and daughters to me, says Yahuah El Shaddai.